More than $30 million has already been spent on the Cincinnati streetcar project, and today city leaders heard just as much more it would cost to shut it down.
Mayor-elect John Cranley was elected on the promise of shutting down that $148 million project. 3 new city council members who take office in December also support canning the streetcar. They were in council chambers today when the project executive explained in detail just how expensive it'll be to pull the plug. Local 12 News reporter Joe Webb joins us live from the newsroom to add up the numbers for us. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Cammie, you know, there was a lot to digest from today's meeting. The bottom line is a lot of money has already been spent, and shutting down a project this size isn't easy or cheap. There are jobs at stake, contracts, and reputations hanging in the balance. But today was all about the money. First of all, the streetcar project is in full swing. Crews were busy on Elm Street this morning ripping up pavement for streetcar rails. From Music Hall to north of Findlay Market, the streetcar is not a concept, it's a construction project. At City Hall this afternoon, project executive John Deatrick spent 2 hours explaining what's going on and what it would cost to stop it. $32.8 million will have been spent by the end of November. Deatrick estimates an additional $30 to $48 million in cancellation and closeout costs. Add the loss of federal grants, and the total price of reversing course is an estimated $125 million. After a few questions, outgoing Vice-Mayor Roxanne Qualls summed things up.
Basically, in essence, what this is saying is that you could end up in a situation if you were to stop the project where you actually spent almost as much in terms of local dollars for stopping the project as it would cost in local dollars to construct the project. Is that what you're saying? Yes.
The presentation did not address the expense of operating the streetcar once it was up and running, and could not estimate intangible costs like litigation and potentially lost business. The Business and Finance Committee meeting was stacked today with streetcar supporters.
You know, streetcar supporter or not, at this point, it makes 0 sense to pause or cancel this project.
3 newly elected city council members who, like the new mayor, ran on a platform to stop the streetcar, were in the crowd today as interested observers. They questioned the numbers and were not swayed by today's presentation.
I didn't feel like it was all balanced. If you heard comments from members of council and other folks, it was really telling us why we have to keep this streetcar, selling the streetcar still. And so, you know, I appreciate the numbers and I appreciate the facts, but I need to look through them and look at them thoroughly.
And John Deatrick also laid out the potential $500 million in lost property taxes over the next 35 years. He also said shutting down the project would take a couple of months to plan and 6 months to a year to complete. Now, the numbers weren't meant to sell the public on keep things moving. So far, though, things are moving. Cammie?
And just to be clear, Joe, right now, as these discussions are happening, work continues, right?
Oh, yeah, work is going full bore. I mean, there are dozens of guys and lots of heavy equipment ripping up the street, laying rails, pouring concrete, doing all of that stuff. Those pictures that you saw at the beginning of the story were shot about 10 o'clock this morning on Elm Street, just north of Findlay Market.
Wow. Okay. Joe Webb, thank you for the report. John Cranley, by the way, will be sworn in on Sunday, December 1st.